A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Shafqat Mahmood Saab, Aswar Saab, Ali Saab, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, Assalamu alaikum. I feel privileged once again to be part of this forum, my third time to do so in a very quick succession. I come here because if there is a talk about Pakistan and Pakistan's summit, that is where my head and heart belongs to. Let me commend the unique, consistent and regular efforts of Nutshell to project this true Pakistan. I am always gratified to see a wide level of participation, which obviously this year has increased, and to see that so many eminent national and international speakers are here to speak about their perceptions about the future of my country. I believe that periodical conduct of such intellectual discourse is important. Important for us to know where we go, important for others to know where we stand. Narrative in the modern world is a defining feature. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, why it is important to know what course Pakistan will charter? It is important because Pakistan is a country of significance. It has been termed by many as a pivotal state. It is a state which has been called a zipper state. There is fact to these assertions. It is a country of 220 million people plus. It is located at the crossroads of civilizations. And it is a country which has immense geostrategic and geoeconomic importance. It connects not only South Asia, but Central Asia, Middle East, Eurasia, West China, and beyond. In a sense, it is connected with 32 littoral states, and in a sense, it zips together 64 countries of the world. It is therefore a state of significance. And therefore, the course that Pakistan charters is not only important for itself, but well beyond, not only in the region, but also beyond the region. That is the significance of the course that we define for ourselves and its impact that it will have on the others. Now, with this premise, let me share my thought on how the global landscape is transforming, because that is where we start to get impacted as far as our future course is concerned. What I see around is a renewed degree of great power competition. This literally has engulfed the world. There is a diffusion of power, and there are new players that are emerging. And it is this, within this diffusion of power and emergence of new players, that Pakistan has to charter its own course. I see great power contestation taking place between existing and emerging powers. And this is a difficult time in history when you have to balance between the existing balanced powers and emerging powers. I also see a visible and enhanced military spending and trade wars taking place across the world. As a military man, I see this military threat. But what is now more interesting to me is the impact of these trade wars that they will have on my regional environment and on the course that I charter. Therefore, there is globally ethno-nationalism and populism that is ascendant. Both these things, they are impacting the course that I have. I am, as a country, the second largest Muslim country of the world. And therefore, if in the world there is Islamophobia that is being propelled by vested interest, that has to impact the way I look to the world and the way the world looks at me. There is a revision of international norms. The so-called global rule-based order is giving way to what you can at best call innovative means of coercion and lawfare. The erstwhile and open conflicts are transforming into grey hybrid domains which are non-conventional and less kinetic. And it is in this turbulent waters that I charter my course. The conflicts are no longer military or state. They in fact involve all elements of national power. The global economic locus is shifting, and shifting decisively to the east, which obviously is giving rise to discomfort from the centers from which it is shifting. And it is in my neighborhood that the center of gravity of these shift is taking place. So it is not by my fault, but by default, that the course that I charter passes through these very trajectories of this global shift in the balance of power. Now let me shift a little bit to the regional environment. Current turbulent Middle East and North Africa has resulted in instability, not only in those regions, but in the world and beyond. The MENA region, which contains largest number of Muslim nations, is confronted with a multitude of crises due to geopolitical, ethnic, sectarian, financial, and may I say civilizational disconnects. Solution to these issues has to be through harmony and accommodation. Peace will never return if you revoke dispute status of places like Jerusalem and Golan Heights and disregard international opinions and legacy of history. For each of these actions has an impact for states like Pakistan and the course that they have to charter. If there is no peace in the broader Middle East, if places like Harman and Sharifan will remain under threat, the security environment in which I will operate and the course that I have to charter will remain difficult. In our region, the core issue remains a just resolution to the long outstanding issue of Kashmir. For Kashmir remains a nuclear flashpoint in the region. It is a human tragedy, a moral crisis, that people of Kashmir have been denied the right of their self-determination for nearly 70 years, a right that is so fundamentally enshrined in the human values and also granted by the United Nations. So therefore, the course that Pakistan charters, Kashmir has a central place that defines Pakistan's worldview. When we look at the human rights report that has come out on Kashmir, The All Parties Parliamentary Kashmir Group reports, the OIC reports, the recently emerged EU report. We understand that the world is also gradually and incrementally becoming more aware of the threats that remain in this region because of the lingering dispute of Kashmir. And while we try and look at this dimension from our prism, I would give you a thought, to spare a thought for those 94,000 Kashmiris who have lost their lives. And many of them, if not all, have been buried in Pakistani flags. For me, it is very important that the course that I take respects the flag in which the Kashmiris have been buried. Now, apart from Kashmir, South Asia is a region beset with multiple challenges. There is a massive conventional arms buildup by some nations, and they are trying to acquire a status of what they call as a net security provider from Sahel to South Asia. To me, it is an intellectual disconnect as to how one nuclear power can provide nuclear security or provide a nuclear dominance in a region where there is another nuclear power. We are also seeing reconfigured geography, and notions of Indo-Pacific are stressing the regional security environment. And this is the nature of the environment regionally in which I charter my course. This is important to understand because this is likely to stress the strategic balance in a region that is already volatile because it induces further instability in South Asia. Let me assure you that as we charter this course, Pakistan Armed Forces are fully prepared to respond to any strategic miscalculation, misadventure, or deliberate aggression. Such acts have not and will not go unnoticed or unpunished. I just recall what recently Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, has said after his visit to Pakistan about the armed forces of Pakistan. He said, and I quote, "I know how strong the Pakistan military is. You will get a bloody nose if you fight against them." With regard to Afghanistan, Pakistan knows that the course that it has to follow, there has to be a closure to the Afghan conflict. As we have long maintained, and the others are now coming to realize, that there is no military solution to the conflict in Afghanistan. On our part, Pakistan has facilitated the opposing forces to the negotiating table. We have done our bit. It is now for others to do their bit so that peace and stability can return to Afghanistan. Pakistan is fully committed to and shares the end state of a peaceful and stable Afghanistan that denies space to any terrorist network, including Al-Qaeda and Daesh, but also denies space to any hostile intelligence agencies that use that soil to operate against Pakistan. It is important for me for the course that I take. Pakistan therefore wants the recent peace initiatives to succeed, to find a lasting political settlement in Afghanistan. It is, after all, a political problem. It is not a military problem. And therefore, it only has a political solution and not a military solution. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, after Pakistan's independence, we have charted a course. This course was based upon a realization, as I said, that we are a pivot of civilizations, cultures, geoeconomy, geopolitics, and regional connectivity. In this course, we may have made mistakes. But today we stand at a threshold where I believe there are more opportunities that present to us than challenges. I know this is not what the mainstream thought might be, but this is what my experience tells me, and this is what my conviction is. I see Pakistan in its course becoming an important member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, of a reactivated SARC when it does, of D8, of OIC, of ECO, and others. I'm pleased to see that Pakistan has played an important role. It has been elected to the United Nations Security Council on 7 occasions, and it has played a positive role for shared human values, peace and security regionally as well as internationally. Let me give you an example, and that will tell you the course that I intend to follow: regional peace and contributing towards global peace. Since 1960, over 200,000 Pakistani personnels have served with professional pride in 44 United Nations missions in 26 countries for peacekeeping. And in doing so, over 160 Pakistani peacekeepers have laid down their lives in the cause of world and global peace. Even today, there are more than 6,000 uniformed personnel who are employed in the United Nations peacekeeping missions. It is very exciting for me in the course that I'm taking to see a resurgence, a focus on the maritime domain. Now, Pakistan has for many times remained at the forefront of a multilateral effort for protection of global commons. Pakistan Navy has had the singular honor of commanding multinational task forces on many occasions, a task that it is even performing today. In this course, it is important that I keep a steady line. And the line is that I am a key and frontline state against terrorism in all forms and extremism in all forms, irrespective of the religion, race, and creed from it emerges, and that I play a full role in towards that sense. And therefore, let me conclude, ladies and gentlemen, inshallah, the course that Pakistan takes is a course that will take us to the destiny which has been envisaged by our great founding father, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, General Saab, for sharing with us the geopolitical and economic challenges that Pakistan needs to navigate to charter the course. I speak on behalf of everyone when I say we are with you